record button as well. Boom. We should be good to go. So you guys in the chat box, you can write, can everybody see my screen right now? You guys can see my screen? Hey y'all, I'll just stay there. Braden's got a question. Go to the questions pane. Yes, you can. Okay, perfect. So that's good. Okay, let's get started. Let's dive in. It's the weekend. Let's get the information. Study, study, study. Very important because, to scale, we have sales reps here, dealer partners, everybody on this webinar. I'm sure you guys want to learn. So I'm going to start presenting and opening this up. So welcome to AlarmGuard University 101. And to get started, I need to sell you in on who the freak I am and why in God's earth should you listen to this clown on the other line. First of all, if you've been through webinars and noticed that a lot of people are boring, F that. That is not me. I'm a completely different breed of person. Hence, because I'm a different breed, I'm proud to say to date, I've gotten such tremendous results from this industry because I'm different, because I love what I do. And I want to bring on as much energy to you guys to not just see this as a typical door-to-door sales job, but to take it for what it is and how big you can grow it and why you should. So I'm going to get into that. Now, before I do, I want to let you know, I got into this industry 12 years ago. I graduated from business with a marketing degree, and I found myself like an idiot knocking on doors. Yeah, at first I was like, wait a second, what type of idiot would knock on doors? Because I'm a business graduate, and I got this corporate job making 32, I think it was $35,000 a year. And I won't mention any names on here who we used to work together doing other stuff. But I was always an outgoing type of person and who always thought different from the average Joe. And I said, if I could do what other people aren't willing to do, I could probably have what other people don't have. And as such, my friend, my buddy who was doing this, and he was doing it for 3 to 6 months, he was making more money than I was making in a year. So to me, I was like, wait a second, but are you freaking, I know people who can go out there and sell drugs and make more money in a month than I make in a year, but I can do that shit. I want to be freaking spending time with my family and friends, not worrying if I'm going to have to go to jail. So I obviously thought to myself when my buddy was telling me, hey, Paul, I actually knock on doors and I make more money, and not in a rude way, but I make more money than you make in a year. And I actually probably work the same hours, if not less, than you do in a full year. I took a look at it, and as such, I found out that the alarm industry paid very well because the way that works freaking really awesome with and very efficient, very effective with alarm sales is door to door. And let's be honest, not everybody has what it takes to be successful at door-to-door sales. And, for me, I thought to myself, if it made sense for a homeowner or a business owner to get a security system through ADT, it obviously would make sense to myself, because if I would want something like this, and I know that sales is a transfer of energy and emotions, I would then be able to move forward in helping as many customers as I can and getting paid a great substantial amount to do it. So as such, I got into it and I was determined. I wasn't the top salesperson to start, nor would I claim or call myself good at all. But after pushing through it, and about 6 months later to a year, I actually really mastered it to the point where I can go out there consistently and produce 1, 2 to 5 accounts every single day. Whereas when I started off, I was struggling to get even a sale per day. Okay, just like anybody who's learned to play ice hockey, when you first step on the ice and you don't know how to skate, but you then keep trying and trying, you eventually learn how to skate, then play hockey, balance yourself, and become the next Connor McDavid. Right? You obviously start in that development process. But most clowns, and I do say clowns, and I don't mean this in a rude way, most clowns will get into this business thinking that, oh, I'm going to go test this and try it out. Bullshit. Are you going to test and try out trying to go and freaking learn how to skate and play hockey to make it to the NHL? You're going to try it out? Or are you going to, no matter what, fight to make it to the NHL if that's something you really want to do? See, you have to understand why you're doing this. As such, I now teach and train and coach everyone clear across Canada how to actually present the alarm from A to Z. I have my 101, 202, 303, 505 trainings dedicated strictly to the AlarmGuard team. So over these next few weeks and few months and over again, you have access to what AlarmGuard pays for, training to get you better at closing a minimum of 1 sale every single day, 365 sales every single obviously every single year as a minimum, and making a great substantial income doing it. Okay, so this is kicking out me in and out. So let me zoom out here. What's going on? Don't freeze up on me. Yes, there we go. Okay, so there we go. As you see it. So I even have a blog called doortodoormastery.com where I basically teach. I have a podcast. You want to get good at this? You have the tools and resources to succeed. You just got to engulf yourself in the information. You got to go out and implement and try. Fall on your face. Get frustrated. That's great, but never quit. Don't give up. So in this training, I'm going to go over, and by the way, yes, that is me and miserable waking up. It was like 6:30 a.m. in front of my vehicle with a house that I was very close to purchasing from one of the people who worked with us. Anyways, and a little team that I put together over there of the 300 plus sales reps that I put together, built from scratch. So it's very important you guys understand you're learning from somebody who's been through the process, started knocking on doors, and did that consistently for 8 years straight, managing, knocking on doors myself, helping other people close, and then developing reps, but also recruiting and so much more. So I do have a lot of information to bring to you guys, but I have to give it to you in a way where I've learned over over 12 years, how to really bring it to you guys to get the best results. So in this training, I'm going to go over how the alarms actually work, give you some product knowledge. We're going to talk about the sensors and how the systems communicate to the central stations, ADT. And then also you're going to be able to ask questions, and we're going to go over in day 2, which is the AlarmGuard 202, which is going to be today. It's a 2-hour power session. Stick in with me, but we're going to go through that as along with pitch training. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is this house over here. This is the bread and butter of what we do on a day-to-day consistent basis. It's very important to understand that every house you look at before you knock on it, you need to understand that they can benefit from what you have to offer. Every single house. Do I personally believe that every single house in Edmonton should have an ADT monitored security system? With 100% certainty, I do today. When I first started off, I didn't quite believe that because I didn't quite understand what a security system can really do. So you want to get good at selling security systems? The first thing you're going to have to do is get good at selling yourself in the demand, especially the need for your products and services in your house, in your brother's house, in your mother's house, in your cousins, your sisters, your moms, your dads, your grandmas, your aunt's house. You're going to have to sell yourself in that, hey, each person needs this system. And if you can't see the benefit of actually having something like this in every single house, you're going to fail and you're not going to do well. I'm going to bring it up to you directly. Me personally, I believe that every home should have it, and here's why. Well, when you take a look at a house, it's very vulnerable. Vulnerable to both break-ins, which is heaven forbid if somebody broke in, but also to medical emergencies, fire emergencies, and now control. What do I mean by control? Well, having complete control over your house, whether it be turning lights on or off, checking in on cameras, turning your thermostat up or down, and being in control of your actually energy consumption. We now are able to do all that. Well, how do we do it? When you take a look at a house, they have front doors, back doors, garage doors, they have different windows and whatnot. We can set up a system inside somebody's house so that if somebody breaks into the property, yes, we can guarantee that we will have the police over at their house and we will minimize damage. If not, have 99% of the times burglars leaving and jetting out the front door before they actually intrude into the property. Okay, so that a loud siren goes off, and we're going to talk about this. A loud siren goes off with the devices we put in. Say somebody has a flood inside someone's in their house. Well, if the flood happens inside the property, right away ADT is notified. They call the homeowner. Hey, by the way, you're at work. I just want to let you know you have a flood in your basement. Of course, I'm going to leave work and I'm going to go head over to my house, turn off the valve, or what do I got to do? Say a burglar is breaking in through my front door, a loud siren is going off. When that loud siren is going off, they're either jetting, or on top of it, I can tap into cameras if I got the camera system, see what's going on. But hey, I have nothing to worry about. ADT's calling me and they're calling the police at the same time. Say I have grandma at home or my brother who has an issue with a medical. So he pushes one button, she pushes one button, connects directly over to the paramedics on a communication device inside the property. OnStar in the car. Well, guess what? We have the system to where they can push it and connect via a live two-way voice intercom inside the home. Grandma, are you okay? We noticed you fell down. You pushed one button. Okay, we will then dispatch and send out the the paramedics over to your house. Sit tight. Say you're put to sleep from carbon monoxide. We're sending the fire department. Say there's a fire inside your house. We're sending the fire department over. And I'm going to get you by the end of today 2 videos that I'm going to need you to watch so that you can understand better the how a smoke detector works and functions, both on the photoelectric and ionized, the way they work, and we'll talk about that. So jumping into that, I'm going to talk about the overview of the alarm process. Write all your questions down, and at the end, we're going to go through any questions you guys and gals may have. Remember, I got 50 more minutes to sell you in on how badass a security system is for your property and why somebody should need it. So, overview of the alarm system. If someone were to break into a property, okay, so here in this image, you have a burglar who, let me try to scroll up here. I'm on a laptop. Let me see. Typically, I have it at the top. Oh, here we go. Is it this? Nope. Can I do that? Nope. It's screwed up. And okay, who cares? We're gonna move along. Okay, so where am I at? I'm at this one. So here, as you see, you could probably zoom in like that. You see the burglar who's inside of a customer's house, and when he's inside of a customer's house, we have devices that will capture that a burglar is inside there, and it will then send a signal. The security system, will send a signal to ADT saying, "Uh-oh, be careful! Somebody broke into this house." And I'm going to explain the details how that works in the upcoming slides. But then what happens is once the burglar is identified, it sends a signal to ADT. ADT is then able to send. I hate laptops. I really do. So basically what happens is ADT. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What on earth is bothering me? Okay, if you guys have ever seen that episode. Okay, so we have over here basically the alarm gets tripped. ADT gets notified. When ADT gets notified, ADT will then call the homeowner, the business owner, if it's a business, and get the police sent over to the property. So imagine a loud siren is going off inside of a customer's house, and on top of it, they're sending a police officer right away to the front door. Do you think a burglar is going to stay inside the house? More than likely, obviously, they're not. So let's talk about the different monitored systems and explain more details about what I just said. We have 3 main types of monitored systems, and by monitored, I mean ADT always looking over the customer's home. There's a basic one-way system, there's a two-way voice response system, and then there's a cell system as well. Now, on a basic one-way system, this was introduced, the first type of system back in the day when everybody had good old-fashioned home phone lines and nobody really had cell phones, okay? The good old-fashioned basic one-way system was if an alarm got tripped and we installed an alarm system inside somebody's house, our technicians, because remember, if an alarm gets triggered, it has to send out a signal to ADT. It needs to tell ADT that address 12345 is getting broken into right now. Okay, how does it do that? Well, it uses the customer's home phone line in order to send that signal to ADT. So we would typically install the keypad and have it run directly over to the ADT via the customer's home phone line to send the signal out. That was a basic one-way system. And then ADT will then need to verify if the alarm that's getting triggered inside the customer's house is a real alarm or a false alarm. And how would ADT verify with a basic one-way system? ADT verifies, and by the way, we still sell these units, rare, but we still do sell them. And how it typically verifies is ADT then calls the customer's home phone. And when they call the customer's home phone, the customer obviously, or the burglar who's inside the house, has to pick up, or ADT is sending the police. Wait a second, Paul, the customer has to pick up. or the burglar. So what if happens if the burglar picks up? Let's give you that example. Okay, so I'm going to break into this house right now with an ADT monitored system. When I break into the house, the ADT siren sounds, woo, 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 woo. When the siren's going off, ADT's calling the home phone. Why are they calling the home phone? Because it might be the homeowner that accidentally set off their system. They forgot their 4-digit code because they got dementia or whatever the case be. So ADT then calls to actually speak to somebody inside the house. Think about this. If a burglar is inside the house and ADT is calling, there's one of two things that can happen. One, the burglar does not pick up the phone. In the case the burglar doesn't pick up the phone, ADT sends the police over directly. In the case the burglar picks up the phone, they ask for their password and their name on file. Okay? And ADT has a password that they set up with the homeowners that only the homeowners know. They give the incorrect password, of course, they're dispatching the police over. Okay? And this is happening in real time and it's happening really quick. Okay, so understand that process. Now, on a two-way voice system, what we do is basically, if heaven forbid a break-in happens, what's going to happen is ADT is going to now, instead of calling the home phone line, they're going to communicate live over a two-way voice intercom system inside the property. And I'm going to show you a diagram of this as well. So with a two-way voice system, how it works is, OnStar in the car, you could be driving and talking to OnStar. Well, it's similar to OnStar inside of a house, whereas if something's happening inside the house, ADT can communicate live over a two-way voice intercom system. Yes, they can only connect live when the signal gets sent out to ADT. No, it's not Big Brother watching over the house. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I still don't believe personally that ADT is with the Big Brother trying to spy on homeowners on a two-way voice system. And I have gotten asked that question from 1 out of every 100 customers. Hey, is this Big Brother? I'm like, that's a good question. And let me answer that for you. Now, if I were to, for example, do you have speakerphone on your home phone? And obviously everybody does. You have speakerphone. Can I call your home phone and tap into your speakerphone right now? No, of course you can't. Okay. It's the exact same way with this. In order for me to tap into your speakerphone, you need to call me and push that button. Well, with the ADT two-way voice system, the only way for ADT to connect over that two-way is if your security system calls ADT, and then it connects live over that two-way voice intercom system. Big Brother? No, it is not. Okay, so if ADT verifies it's a burglar inside the house, we send the police over. Now, recently, and I'm talking recently because as of the last 8 years, 10 years, more and more people have been getting rid of their home phone lines. And people say, hey, if I got rid of my home phone line, can I still get a security system? Well, absolutely. We put in a cellular device. We call it Cell Backup Primary. And basically, if heaven forbid somebody broke in, instead of the actual phone line being used, we install a special GSM cell unit inside the customer's keypad, which we give them, which will send that signal out to ADT. And whether they choose a two-way voice or a basic one-way system, basic one-way they call the home phone, two-way voice they connect live over the intercom system, they can package them together. So I don't have a home phone, I need to put a cell unit in, and I want two-way voice. So I want two-way voice and cell backup. Or I just want the basic one-way with cell backup. Okay, so it's really neat that they don't need a home phone line in order to get an alarm system. We have an actual dedicated cell system we install inside the customer's keypad that sends a signal to ADT. So let me give you a diagram of these three. Well, as you see, this cute little burglar that's not so cute when he's breaking in real life, and there's a customer's home. Well, we have an ADT yard sign placed in front of the customer's property. Now, when a customer's property, okay, is when a customer has an ADT yard sign, let me see here. Any questions so far? I do got some good questions. Anybody? Yes. Nope, nobody's got any questions. That's awesome. And everybody can hear me. I'm just making sure I'm unmuted. Yeah, that is perfect. Okay. So basically with a one-way system, here's a customer's home, and we have a loud siren we put inside the house. We also put door sensors, motion detector. We put different types of things we'll talk about in this webinar about how we secure the home. But picture it has an ADT monitored security system. So if a burglar breaks into the customer's house, number one, the sign is typically a deterrent. But Burglars know that a lot of people either buy signs, fake signs, or don't have their systems monitored. So what they do is they break into the home to listen in to hear if a loud siren is going to go off. Now, in the case of a burglar breaking into the house and a loud siren goes off, it sends a signal out to ADT that, wait a second, somebody's breaking into this address. Okay. Well, remember, step number 2 is the verification process. Remember here, alarm gets triggered, uses the home phone line to call ADT. ADT needs to verify. Is this a homeowner that accidentally forgot to put in their 4-digit code? Because what happens, guys and gals, is everybody knows with a security system, there's that button thing on the wall. Well, that button thing is called a security keypad, okay? Well, on that keypad, you have a 4-digit code that you set up with the technician, and of course, the technician turns his head and you set it up as the homeowner, your own private code. But you type in your 4-digit code when you come home to turn off your security system, so ADT doesn't even need to get notified. However, a burglar doesn't know your 4-digit code, so when he breaks in and the loud siren goes off, it sends a signal to ADT. ADT needs to verify. Perhaps I forgot my 4-digit code, or I got dementia, or I'm Dory from Finding Nemo, or Finding Dory, and I forgot what my 4-digit code was. I keep forgetting. I suffer from short-term memory loss. So I type in on this keypad my 4-digit code, and I forgot it. Or perhaps I'm a burglar that breaks in and there's no 4-digit code that I know personally. So ADT needs to verify. They call the home phone. Burglar doesn't know the 4-digit code, nor does he know the password, the verbal password they have with ADT on file. So what is ADT doing? Because they didn't answer, or if they did answer and gave a wrong password, step number 3, bam, you got a local armed officer. Guys and gals, let me scream this from the top of my mother effing lungs. You, when you're selling to customers, need to tell them and have them understand we have an armed officer showing up directly to the property. I'm not talking some random security guard. What do they call them? Rent-a-cops? And no offense if anybody's been one, but listen, this is a serious business. We have the local closest police officer showing up to your house. How much do you care about your property to have us put in something like this to protect your family and your assets, which, by the way, and I have to say 99.9% of the time, not 100, and I'll tell you why, but 99.9% of the time, their largest asset is what? Is their house. Their largest asset, they have the most stuff in it, the most valuables, is their house, not their car. Now, I did sell somebody who did have a Lamborghini, and his actual house was worth less than his car, believe it or not. So I do have to say 99.9% of the time. Okay, so that's with a basic one-way system. You're going to notice a similar pattern here. Does it look similar with the two-way voice? Yes. The process is the exact same, except how we verify the alarm, how ADT verifies the alarm is different in this one-way versus two-way alarm monitored device system. So in the two-way voice, the exact same thing happens. Burglar breaks in, except ADT will then communicate live over the two-way voice intercom. And the two-way voice intercom is now built into the keypad. It's 8 times more sensitive than the human ear, and they're able to communicate and hear footsteps if a burglar's inside the property breaking in. It's like OnStar for their house, okay? It's not OnStar for their house. It's like the way OnStar works, where they communicate live over that intercom system. Well, imagine inside of a house, the two-way voice. So if I did accidentally, and let's just say it was me, I get home and I forgot to type in my 4-digit code, or I forgot my code, ADT connects live and says, please identify yourself. Hey, sorry guys, it's Paul. I accidentally tripped my system. My name is Paul Shakuri and my password is pizza. Okay, yep, it's verified. Anything else you need, Mr. Shakuri? No? Okay, thank you so much. We will not dispatch the police out. No worries. Have a great day. But if it's a burglar, of course, they don't know my password's pizza, and obviously they will then send the police officer over. Okay, so with the two-way voice system, that's how it is. Now, with each of these packages, there are different monitoring plans. So the different monthly bill that they would pay. Get with your local manager to know, what it is your rates are for each of these packages. It's simple. Now, you need to hone in when you're talking to customers on what package, you're going to sell. Don't go all over the place saying we have this package, that package, or this package. Which do you want? I always start with the highest end package, which is our cellular backup slash primary. And with that package, you want to sell them in on that. And then if they ever complain about some prices, or you just can't get them past that, say, you know what? I can get you in all the way down at 33 bucks. You do have a phone line, and we could I'm just saying like that. You can, to bring the price down, you're able to do that. So you can always start high and go lower. It's harder to start lower and go higher. Okay, so always start there at the sell package, and then if they're complaining and fighting and arguing, and I really mean this, because over time you're going to learn with my teachings how to build value in the system, so your customers are literally saying, okay, cool, I mean, this is amazing, where do I sign? You will get there, I promise you. You just got to stick in with it. So with that cell system, basically how it works is if somebody breaks in, the exact same way happens, but it uses this cellular device, not the customer's home phone, to dial out to ADT. And if they have two-way voice activated, the package, then ADT will communicate live over the two-way voice cell radio inside the customer's property. Okay. So understand that's exactly how that works. 1, 2, 3-step process. Alarm gets triggered, ADT gets notified, ADT verifies, and if it is an emergency, they send out the local authorities. And keep in mind, this is police. If it was a fire, it would work the exact same way. If the smoke detector detected a fire, it would then send a signal, ADT would verify. If nobody picks up the phone, emergency contacts don't pick up, then ADT sends the fire department over to the property. Medical emergency. Someone help when they fall and they can't get up. Say they have the two-way voice system. Well, what happens is ADT connects live over two-way voice intercom system. Here's grandma on the floor saying, oh my gosh, yes, please, I fell down. Can you send the paramedics over? No problem, ma'am. We'll stay with you. Just please, paramedics will be there shortly. And they're sending over the paramedics. How freaking amazing so far is this system, okay? When you have your own property, it's a no-brainer, especially for the cost of this stuff, especially for the fact that it ups the value of your house. It's a no freaking brainer once you understand the concept. And if you somewhat care about your property, your assets, or your family, I mean, it's common sense to have something like this. And that's why we make a lot of money with it. It's going out there, finding our clients, getting them sold in on the idea, but not letting them think you're a salesperson or see you as just a salesperson, but build up the value in what we do. So how an alarm can get tripped: from door window sensors, motion detectors, glass break sensors, smoke detectors, flood sensors, carbon monoxide scent detectors, and duress and panic, and then also freeze sensors, and so much more. And we're gonna break that down in the slides. So you guys have in each of your offices different types of keypads, but typically it's the touchscreen keypads which you guys use. Call me a little old school, but crazy as it is, I like the good old-fashioned keypads. Weird. I'm weird that way. 99% of the people, your customers, are like, ugh, I don't want that thing. I like the new touchscreen, all this and that. For me, I mean, this is maybe because I've been in the industry for 12 years. I like the good old-fashioned touch pads. Anyways, we're able to give them the latest touchscreen keypads, and it'll look different based on the latest models. Obviously, we always carry the latest models, but typically you'll have a touchscreen keypad. Now, the touchscreen keypad and these ones work very similar. Those have obviously way more features, and I'm not going to confuse you. I'm going to give you the basics of how the system works, and over time you'll actually note that it does so much more than what you had in mind with the actual panel itself. So just to give you some ideas of what the panel can do, because we have sensors inside the house, if every time a door opens and closes, this panel can talk to you. Front door, back door, garage door, okay? Think about it. If you're at home sleeping and somebody tries, prying open your back door open, beep, 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 and it'll start going like that. Notifies you. Imagine you have kids at home. You have a pool in the backyard, or it's freezing cold outside and they like to run off and open doors, or heaven forbid there's traffic, okay? And it happens often with a lot of people. Child opens a front door, you're in the kitchen cooking, panel will tell you, beep, 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 front door. Are you kidding me? What do you mean front door open? Bam, you can go and run and do that. I can leave voice messages on this keypad for my spouse. Hey, honey, I went to the grocery store. I'll be back around 6. Food's ready in the fridge, yada, yada, yada. My wife comes home from work, she'll actually see that there's a notification waiting. Boom, she can hit that notification and hear the voice message. Okay, lots of cool features that the panel does have. You can arm it, disarm it, stay away, and I'm going to talk to you about the different types of features on there about that. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about door contacts, door sensors. I have 25 minutes left on the clock to sell your minds in on this products and services. And if you already think the word sell is bad, you're probably not going to do well in this industry. Selling is not a bad thing. We sell ourselves every single day. If you have a spouse or if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you sold them in on why they should be with you. Okay, so we're always selling ourselves in, and don't lie to yourselves. Don't lie, cheat, and steal from people. But really, you got to brew this up within yourself. And I'm not talking like try to convince yourself, because there's a difference between just bullshitting and convincing yourself, but really fight to understand the logistics behind how these work so that you can really understand and feel it. Because ultimately, sales is a transfer of energy and emotions. So when you're transferring that energy over to your potential customers, you're really transferring from your heart what you believe about these. And when they feel that and sense that equally, done, done, done. You go like myself, who I sold 10 accounts in one day. Yes, 10 alarm accounts in one day. My last install was at midnight. I'm a beast, but that's because I put it in my head to work 14 hours that day. It's something I wanted to do, and I accomplished it. Did it only once, but I still was able to say up until today, I did that. So having said that, I'm not gonna. It's not me bragging. It's to give you. It's to give you that insight to say, shit, man. If this clown can do it, so can I. All right. I'm trying to use words that will, spark inside your minds, some excitement. Not excitement. Some shift the patterns, because listening to webinar can be boring at times. Believe me, you can hone off, zone off, understand exactly where I'm going at. I want to make you guys continue to add on to the AlarmGuard dream team, which we call ourselves. Really closing machines and helping each other out, because that's what it's about. It's the web of helping each other out, clear across Canada, continuing to dominate as the #1 master dealer. Okay, so the door contacts, how it works is, here's a hardwired and a wireless one. 99% of the time we're going to use wireless, but I just want to show you what the concept, the idea of door contacts are. So each of these bars, so this side and this side, have magnets inside them. Now, when a door or a window sensor, which is, by the way, it's the exact same sensor, a door or window sensor, when a door is closed, these two magnetic sensors, and I'm going to show you an image, are touching each other. But if the door were to open, okay, we put one on the door frame and one on the door. And if the door were to open, the two magnetic sensors would split from one another. Now, when the door sensor splits from one another, these two contacts, it then says, whoa, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Keypad, be careful, the door contact opened. Okay, I just want to give you the general idea right now. It goes to the keypad saying, hey, I just got opened. Hey, do you know if I'm turned on and I should call ADT or not? Just to give you a general idea, okay? So if somebody broke in, and I'm going to get into more detail, I'm going to go in general, but if somebody broke into a house, it would tell the keypad, hey, Mr. Keypad, I just got opened up. What mode are you armed in? And how is that? So here's a door contact, and I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. The first scenario is, I'm having everybody over for the Edmonton Oilers game, and I don't need to arm my security system. It's just a regular door-to-door, a regular day-to-day activity where people are coming over to my house. When people are coming over to my house and it's just during the day, I'm not going to turn my security system on. I could, but I don't want to. Okay, I just going to leave it on off mode. So how do I turn it off? Typically, it'll be in off mode, or if you want to turn it off because it's armed, you just type in your 4-digit code, hit the off button. Okay, that's how you turn your security panel off. Now, in the case of everybody's coming in, I can have it. I like personally what's called the chime feature. Remember, I told you front door, back door. I like knowing I'll leave my front door open. Let's just say if I'm having 50 people over at my house, and I'll just have it every time. Beep, 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 front door. I'll say just walk on in the front door. Cool, someone's here. I now know. And how is it notifying? Well, think about it. These two magnetic sensors, one on the door, one on the frame. Every time somebody opens the door, the two magnetic sensors split from one another. It sends a signal directly to the panel that says, uh-oh, this just got opened. But you know what? I'm not going to call ADT because I'm turned off. I'm in off mode. I'm not in guard dog mode. I'm not in turned on mode, okay? So understand that it won't just go off. And I'd have to say about 60 to 70% of your potential customers you're going to be talking to think that it's always turned on. It's crazy as it is. They're like, oh, no. I have people coming in and out of my house all throughout the day. This is going to be a nightmare. No, hold on. People can come in during the day. And by the way, that feature of front door, back door, you can turn it on or turn it off. It's up to you. I like it on in my house, but I have to say, sadly, that I personally say, because I think the opposite, but sadly, a lot of people don't like that feature. But it's like 50-50. I'd even say 60 like it, 40 don't. Okay, so you can tell them, hey, there's this chime feature. Do you think you'd use that to where if every time a door got opened or closed, some people would be like, absolutely, I love that. I got kids and they always walk out the front door. Other people would be like, no, that would drive me crazy. Too many people come. Okay, cool. Type in your 4-digit code, hit your chime button, and it turns off. The details of how to do these things, guess what? Best part is, as salespeople, we don't need to know how or how to explain it. Customer talks to the technician trains them how to use this. I just want to give you this information so you could talk to them about the feature and teach them how they can benefit from it. You don't need to explain how to do it. Just say, it's very simple. Type your 4-digit code, you hit chime, and guess what? The technician will go walk through that with you on your install tomorrow or whatever install date you have set up. Okay, so that's how the door contact works. Now, if somebody were to actually break into the property and you had your security system armed and, of course, your door's closed, well, that would then send a signal to the keypad. Keypad will say, oh, shit, I'm armed, so I need to sound a loud siren and call ADT. Okay, that's how the door contacts work. We place these door contacts on every single door. I'm talking front door, back door, and the garage door. Garage door is the one coming into the house from the garage. The one coming into the garage from the outside of the house is a luxury item if they want it. It's the same sensor. Make money upselling them if they have an actual stuff in the garage that they want protected. You can upsell and make a lot of money extra on your equipment if you sell it. Okay, and you'll get better at this. This is the first training. So don't think you got to learn and know everything to start. I want you falling on your face going out there because that's what's going to ultimately make you a better, stronger person. And as you're going to get to know, we have actually an ex-UFC fighter here on because I relate a lot to selling as of MMA fighting, but we actually have an ex-MMA UFC fighter, yes, who actually fought in the UFC octagon on this, who's based out of Edmonton. And as we always say, imagine when you're starting first your MMA career, you're getting hit, you're getting knocked down, you're not as good as you are going to be when you develop yourself over time. You don't do the training as you do day after day. You get better and better. So understand it's no different. Fall on your face. Now we're going to talk about motion detectors. Motion detectors, how do they work? Hence motion, movement. It picks up on movement. If someone were to break in from a window or anywhere in the house except the door contact, well, they're going to have to walk past this motion detector. And typically, you got to get creative. We put this motion detector, and the technician ultimately says where this motion detector would go. But this motion detector picks up, we put it in what we call a trap zone. So where no matter where somebody broke in from, they have to walk past it. Yes, they can purchase numerous motion detectors and have them all interconnected. But we typically give them one motion detector. So if somebody breaks into the house, it picks up on heat from a body that's 45 pounds and above. Small little dogs and cats running around the house, if the security system's armed and they're moving around, it's going to detect that they're under 45 pounds. It will not sound the alarm signal. Yeah, we can get up into the 80 pounds and 120 with different motion detectors. They're a little bit more expensive and pricey, but I mean, if your customer has dogs, we'll talk about that in upcoming webinars, but typically you can arm your security system what we call on stay mode, which I will even briefly explain in this, but there's multiple ways around that, okay? So you will be faced by that, which is fine. Go out there, you can place a motion detector. Worst case scenario, technician will take care of it for you. So motion detector picks up on movement. Now think about it. We got the doors protected. We got this sensor inside that will pick up on movement. How can somebody break into a house and get away with it if we have these devices? You can also set up glass break sensors and charge customers for these if you want. What it does is we put one glass break sensor in a room, for example, and it detects any sound of glass shattering 35 feet in radius from the sensor. So in this house that you see over here, this room, if someone were to smash any of these windows, that glass break sensor would detect and sound trigger the alarm and obviously call ADT saying somebody smashed a window in the front foyer, wherever the area is. The technician, when he's installing it, he sets it up with ADT, and it's a wonderful experience that each of you, especially starting off, need to do in your first couple sales. Go to the install with the technician or meet up at the customer's house at your first couple sales. It's going to teach you so much that you can sell on when you're actually learning that process. And then talking to the customer and saying, hey, so you see how, remember we talked about this motion? Now if somebody were to come in, do you feel more secure and safe, and also solidifies your sale? But see that process so you can sell the more customers in on that experience that you had. Hey, I was actually just at my previous client's house, and they put a motion here, and they have a similar type layout, and you start, this is how you start getting 3 to 5 accounts in an actual day, is by doing these things. Okay, we're going to continue ongoing training with you guys. Smoke detectors. What are smoke detectors? Well, everybody knows what a smoke detector is, and they typically say, I already have one. Good. That's awesome. You have smoke detectors. But how do your typical smoke detectors work? Well, your typical smoke detectors work on if it picks up on a fire. Well, what's going to happen? I mean, a fire is going to, burnt toast or cooking is going to get detected by the smoke detector, and then your loud siren is going to just go beep, 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 and your smoke detectors. Great to have. That's awesome. But what happens if you're away from your house? And what happens if you're put to sleep from a fire? How are you going to call the fire department? Who in their right mind? Everybody says I got a neighbor that looks out for their house. Okay, if you haven't already realized, we're in the year 2017, where if you have a mortgage, 99% of us are slaves to paying off that mortgage. Okay, they really are. So I really say this, and not in a rude way, but everybody works. Your neighbors are working. So if you have a fire, okay, if you have a fire inside your house, the reality is the neighbor across the street is more than likely not going to realize there's a fire inside your house until there's massive flames coming out and they're home. Okay. Well, with our monitored smoke detectors, they pick up, first of all, way quicker. And I have a video for you guys to watch on this, but they actually pick up way quicker. But not only do they pick up quicker of an actual fire, but it also sounds the siren, detects the fire inside the house, and sends the signal to ADT saying there's a fire in this house. So ADT gets called, and ADT dispatches the fire department over to that property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless if the system is turned on or not. The monitored smoke detectors are completely different. They also pick up on heat rate of rise, which is massive heat change over a short period of time. So if there's a fire in the room next door, it's going to pick up that massive heat change over a short period of time. And I'll get a video for you guys to watch. Really, inside the smoke detector, there's a laser beam that's going from the left side to the right as well. So if the smoke goes up and fills into that smoke detector, it's going to block off that laser, and that's going to sound the alarm as well. So it works so much quicker than your typical. Flood sensors, everybody knows or has heard probably of an incident of somebody who's had a massive horror story with the insurance company. I'll briefly tell you one. We have a gentleman, a dealer partner in Edmonton, who has real estate property. One of his properties, when the tenant moved out, he checked up on it 1 week later, only to find that there was a massive flood in the wintertime inside that property, and water was pouring out his back door. What did he do? He went and turned it off, called his insurance company and said, I had a flood. Unfortunately, I have flood insurance. Well, that fortunately he had flood insurance turned into an unfortunate event. It also happened in Toronto last year with a 60, she was, I believe, 78-year-old senior citizen. And I'm going to explain to you what happens. And this is important that you let your customers know. And remember, when you're bringing this up, you need to bring it out with emotion. So many people, so many salespeople I see, they're kind of like, smoke detectors like that. You got to get energy. You got to dig deep within yourself. I'm not saying be loud and rowdy, but stand your ground. Be solid when you talk to somebody. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you probably have never thought of a flood, have you? No, we have. Okay, let me just explain to you what we have. We have a flood sensor, and here's the story, and this is true. So, number one, this gentleman, he basically had his rental property, and what happened was his tenant moved out, and he had this flood. So he called the insurance company. Thankfully, he had flood insurance. No, thankfully, he did not have flood insurance that was protected, and here's why. Insurance company came back to him and said, wait a second, yeah, you've been paying us for flood insurance, but we need 3 things. Number one, we need you to verify that you shut off the main valve. Okay, well, he took a picture and obviously was able to verify he had the valve shut off. Number two, we need proof that you checked up on the property regularly. Well, clearly he was able to show that. And number 3, you had to have some type of third-party monitor device, some type of device that would either send a signal to you, to a central station, to somebody in the case of a flood. Wait a second. Of course, if we have that, then, common sense means what the heck am I paying you for? Because I'm going to be able to come over here and turn it off pretty quick, right? So the reality was he wasn't able to prove that, and hence, as such, 40 something thousand dollars, 40 to $50,000 in damages directly out of his pocket. Insurance company. Now, let's not talk about how much money he spent on that flood insurance over the many years that he had on that property. Gone out the door. With that senior citizen, you can Google it. She had a heart attack. She left to the hospital, rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, during that time, pipe burst, water flooded, had flood insurance, called, and the exact same thing. They hit her with two things. First of all, these scumbags, and yes, I'm going to call them that, had the common courtesy to tell that common decency to tell her, well, nobody checked up on the property. Ma'am, I had a freaking heart attack and I was at the hospital. How can I check up on the freaking property? I'm sorry, well, we're not going to cover it. And on top of it, you didn't have a monitor device. It's insane. These insurance companies, their whole objective is to limit their liability from paying you. They want you to keep paying and never pay you as long as they possibly can. If you don't already understand that, you're going to have to learn that concept before you really understand insurance companies. And the most part is 99% of I should say 100% almost, everybody hates the insurance company. So these things, and by the way, which I always get into in our trainings, but they actually get a small discount on their insurance, not because the insurance company is such a wonderful person. Hey, my belief, but the insurance companies actually give you a discount for having a monitored security system inside your property because only one reason. If the insurance company is willing to give you a discount to basically get you to get a security system, there's something in it for them. And I'll tell you what's in it for them. It limits their liability that they're going to have to pay you out on the insurance that you pay them monthly. That's the only reason why they give you anywhere from $5 to $10 a month off your insurance. Hey, $5 to $10 a month is like pretty much $5 to $10 a month off your monitoring. So, I mean, it's good to note that we have the certificate. They send it out, and ADT verifies with the insurance company, and they get a discount. It's a win-win situation and a no-brainer. Once you guys and gals learn how to communicate all that I'm explaining to you guys with the homeowners, you go out there and you keep track of your emotions because it's an emotional roller coaster at times. Like, why are people telling me not interested? Or it's cold outside today. Control your emotions and you will sell and make great money with this. Carbon monoxide detectors, it's called the silent killer. It's basically if there was a gas leakage, we're able to do that, put in carbon monoxide detectors. It's the silent killer. It can put you to sleep and, fill up, obviously, the house with these toxic gases. And, unfortunately, you'll never know and you get brain damage. And yeah, unfortunately, lots of people pass away due to it. Again, I hope you're taking notes. Yes, I'm recording this video, but these things I talk about, do research. Carbon monoxide, do research. Print out sheets for yourself. Don't wait for somebody to get all this to you. Do your own research. Create your own stuff, your own marketing material. Don't just rely on other people. You want to get good at this? Get good at it because you seriously can. And you don't need a bunch of marketing material or that to sell. I pretty much sold with just a contract and a notepad and a pen. That's it, nothing else. But some people, they want that in the beginning, but you need to get your feet wet, okay? Now, key fob remote controls with duress. Everybody knows, first of all, with a key fob remote control, let me start with this. You can turn your security system on or off. How is that important? Why is that important? Well, the first thing is if they have a 2-story house, for example, and they're all the way up in their master bedroom and they want to turn their security system on at nighttime, they can push one button and have their security system armed. From there, they don't got to walk down to their keypad, okay? So you can turn it on. Let's just say I'm coming back from the grocery store, and before I enter my door, I want to turn my security system off. I have this wireless remote control where I actually put it with my keys on my keychain. I can turn the security system off before entering my property, or open the door, then turn it off with my remote control, okay? Neat. You can turn it on and off. You can also program, you have a couple more buttons. You have 4 buttons that they can customize on this. You could do things such as duress, panic for the medical, for fire. They can choose whatever they want on this remote control. Now, I need to explain what duress is, and this is so important because if you didn't already see that viral video that went viral last year in Toronto as well, I believe it was. But what happened was there was a criminal who followed a young girl home, and he basically told the young girl to open up the front door, opened up the front door, and he pinned her up against the wall. And this girl was kicking and screaming and kicking and screaming, kicking and screaming, and this is all caught on camera. Thankfully, the burglar left, the freaking criminal left the house, and that nothing happened but that incident, of course. So with the duress and a security system, if that same incident happened, there's two ways to actually trigger a duress signal. Duress is a 911 emergency signal. So say that criminal said open the front door, and she opens the front door, and now the alarm panel is going beep beep beep. It's starting to beep for them to turn off the system. So number one, what the little girl could have done is went in and typed in a duress signal, which will actually, like, let's just say your real code to disarm the system was 1234, but the duress one was 4321. She could type in 4321 off, and what's going to happen is it's going to look like the system turned off, but it's going to actually notify ADT that this is a 911 emergency. Something is happening in here. Please don't call to verify because he might shoot me or kill me because I did this, but please show up anonymously, the police directly to the property. Police take this as a real 911 emergency, like very high end, and they come in obviously with care. And you can also program on your remote control to have that as well. You can have it so that it sounds the siren when that happens, or do it silently. They can program it with the technician all in one. Okay, so it's really convenient. Understand that they can do the medical as well. So we talked about the chime. We talked about we talked briefly about stay away, the disarm code. So now, when you're arming your security system, you can arm it on both stay or away mode. The difference between stay and away is when you're staying inside the house, like at nighttime, and you want to turn on your security system, you arm it on stay. When you're leaving the house and you're away from your house, you arm it on away when nobody's inside the property. Why? Well, in stay mode, remember we talked with the security system, we have a motion detector that picks up on movement. Imagine if you armed your security system and you got up at nighttime and walked past the motion detector to get a glass of water, went to the bathroom, right? And the motion detector saw you. Well, in away mode, the alarm system would trigger. In stay mode, your whole perimeter is armed, your door contacts, if you bought window contacts, those are armed, except the motion detector, so you can get up and move around to get a glass of water at nighttime. So the main difference is your stay or away. So if I'm staying at home at nighttime, I'd arm it in stay. If I'm on away mode, I'd arm it on away. Okay, understand those differences. And you can still do everything from disarming, duress, the emergency contacts, the chime, which is front door, back door, beep, 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 open when doors open and close. And keep in mind, the panel talks wirelessly to all the sensors, your smoke detectors and all that, directly to the actual panel itself. Having said that, I think we did a wonderful job in going through this. I'm going to open up the floor to questions. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we're going to go and nail out the 202, which is going to get more into pitch training. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and I will unmute your microphone, and I will get your questions asked. Anybody have any questions? And if you don't have any questions or you don't want to hear the answers to any of the questions, which I don't recommend, you're more than welcome to go. We will come back. It's 58 after right now. So 5:05 my time. That's mountain time. So anyways, whatever on the hour you are, just make sure you're 5 minutes after from now. Take a quick 5-minute break. Anybody have any questions? Cool. I must have did a great job. Cool. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, and I'm going to go grab some water, and we'll get into the 202, which is going to be all about the pitch training, and I'm going to go through today's agenda. It's going to be right here for you guys. Awesome. Talk to you guys soon. I'll leave this open. All right, everybody, we're going to get started here in just 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to go over now in this. This is the AlarmGuard 202. General ideas of the pitch training. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys details. Like my main goal and objective is what you're doing at the doors. It has to make sense to your customers. Okay, like think about this. When you're knocking on a customer's door, the first thing they're going to be thinking is you're just a typical salesperson, and they have no clue what a security system really is. They didn't sit through an hour-long demonstration of product knowledge and how a security system would function and work. So of course, when they look at you as a salesperson and you knock on the door, I don't want to do business with this person. I'm not interested, right? Don't want it, not interested. How did I come across this? How did I learn this? Well, I learned this from knocking thousands of doors, getting frustrated. Why on God's earth are people not on every door pretty much telling me they're interested? So people who I sold, 90% of the people who I sold, if not 95% of the people I sold, initially told me they're not interested. They didn't have a need for it. They didn't want it. But wait a second, I sold these people. So what happened from when I started till the end? And the way I got this data was I asked customers when I got the sale, I'm like, you remember when because I was frustrating me. Remember at first you told me you weren't interested? Why did you tell me not interested? And they typically tell me, they're like, Paul, I'm going to be honest with you. When you knocked on my door, I just thought you were a regular sales guy at the door, who just was selling me anything. I wasn't even listening. And in my head, that made a lot of sense. How many times have you gone on a date and haven't quite listened to that person on the other side when they continue to ramble? Or are you the person who was continuing to ramble and that person on the other side was not fully listening to you? Okay. It's the exact same way with potential customers, if not on a worse scale, because when you're knocking there, they just think a random sales guy, a random, religious person trying to sell me religion at the door, yada, yada. I'm not even listening, don't want it, not interested. So we need to find a way to take them, get them to listen, and also have what we're saying make sense so that we build value. And I'm going to go through that in this process. So talk about your opener pitch, explain a little bit about what you're doing and why you're doing it there at the doors, how you're going to, justify what it is you're saying. And then like, because we do take care of the homeowner, give them obviously a great deal on this actual system because they're doing something for us. We're going to explain that, and then the price that they take care of, the cost that they take care of, and explaining again that connection, what it is, and then also justifying that payment that they're making. They gotta attach, what they're paying to what they're getting, and what they're getting needs to outweigh what they're paying. So I'm gonna bring that up and brew it up. But then also keep in mind, in 303 trainings, we get into more of like actual pitch trainings with each other. So don't worry, have no fear, but I want you guys to understand the process. And then I'm going to also teach you how to assumptively close the sale, not just say, so is this something you want to do at the end? Okay. But before we get into that, let's talk about proper dress code. Always be groomed, no facial hair, body piercing, especially at the beginning. Now, people see pictures or who knew me, they say, Paul, you're teaching this, but when you're selling, you got, sometimes a beard. Yes. When you get confident, when you get comfortable, when you're able to close 1 in every 3 to 5 homeowners, I can care less if you have that. Now, in the beginning, I'm not against this, okay? Because confidence is the number one thing that sells. Take confidence in taking control of the sale. But when you're newer, believe me, it's the reality of human nature. We're going to judge people, especially when we see them for the first time. So I want to give you the knowledge to be able to have all this work in your favor so you can close these sales more simply in the beginning. So after you gain your experience and you know how to close, it's not so much, where you have to worry about that. Now, tattoos and body piercings and all that, take them out or cover them. I had a guy who was tatted up all the way to his neck. He was one of my top sales reps. He knew how to bring it up. At first, it affected him, but he was also to get people who have tattoos and talk about it and relate to it in the sale. So in the beginning, just if it's, on your arm or whatnot, because people will judge, cover it up if you want to. It's up to you. But I'm just giving you this knowledge from the experience that I've seen. Now, you must have an AlarmGuard shirt tucked into your pants. And I always say khaki pants, khaki shorts in the summertime, but something clean cut, okay? It's very important that you don't go overdressed, but you go dressed proper without holes in your jeans or holes in your pants and, looking like a hooligan who showed up at their door. It's very important because I've seen it happen. Do not be clean cut, be presentable, smell good, shower, and literally go there because people want to do business with that, with people like that, okay? Clean pair of running shoes, throw them in the washing machine, watch a YouTube video. Crazy as it is, you can get them super sparkling clean by throwing them in a washing machine. When they answer the door, the first thing is they will actually judge you based on appearance. You want them to view you as a clean cut, worthy, trustworthy person. So what did I do? I lined my sales up and I said, let me take a picture of you. So that's me on the right-hand side, the second guy from the right. I actually had a team that I wanted to take a picture with. Some have khaki pants, some have khaki shorts. These people all drive fancy cars now, and they are living in really nice houses, and they are very successful, each one of them from left to right, doing still this to today. So it's very important you guys and gals understand that this works. And if it works, this is the look. They're not overly dressed, but they have the proper shirt, and the black shirts are actual sales managers. And it's very important we actually understand that this is how you're supposed to look, because it helps you actually generate sales. And if you notice, they have the ID badge dangling from their actual chest. So we need to make sense of our sales pitch. The most important thing that a door-to-door salesperson, a consultant, must remember is that if your sales pitch doesn't make sense, then the homeowner will not buy from you, right? And what's crazy is if we're just talking and the homeowner's not absorbing, you may be talking about the actual security products and services and how they relate and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, if they're not listening because they're just thinking you're a salesperson and you're coming up with all this quality information, imagine just like with right now, if I don't have your attention and you're just kind of like, oh, let me click and check my email and look around on YouTube. I mean, this is not, I can say it all day long, but if it doesn't make sense to you, like, yeah, that's right, I can use that. Or, yeah, that does make sense why I should do that. And you know what, I'm going to implement that. Well, then you're not going to use it at the doors. Well, the same thing, if you're talking about a yard sign and, the security system and how the alarm goes off, and they're thinking, oh my God, I got to take my kids to the grocery store and, my wife needs it. And then, so what do you think about that? Is that something you want to do? No, man, we're not interested. In the back of their head, they weren't listening to you. So you're going to have to make sense of your actual pitch. And the way you're going to do that is by talking, stopping, and asking questions. Talking, stopping, and asking questions. Not all homeowners will catch on to what it is you're doing right away. Take it as it is, but you're going to have to brew it up. You're going to have to ask questions. And if they can't repeat to you, then you need to still work on your steps. You need to get back and say, oh, actually, it's very simple. Let me explain this to you. Okay. Now it makes sense to them. Not all homeowners will know exactly why you're doing what you're doing as fast as you like them to. Be patient, really. Work them, because once you brew them, it turns into a sale. And keep moving forward within your process, and you'll learn that all throughout the time and by doing it longer, more and more. Always ask your customer if what you just explained to them makes sense. Very important. And identify if they truly understand what it is by asking them. So a lot of people will just be nice by saying, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, okay, cool. Just to make sure I explained it right. So how would it work if your alarm system got triggered? Did you say it's kind of sorry, I'm not quite certain. Okay, no worries. And then you go back in. So they're just being nice by saying you yes. They don't want to sound like they weren't listening. Okay. So important to catch up on this. And when you do start catching on to this, you start realizing when you ask for them to close the sale, to get the system in the proper way I'm going to show you, they say yes. People say I did the exact same thing you do. I say the exact same thing you do, but I don't get those results. It's because you're not gaining traction throughout your pitch. So over time, you actually build that, and you can start learning. So your opener pitch is when you knock on the door and you're a random stranger at this point, and somebody opens the door and they look at you as that. Your purpose is to actually get their attention, right? Because you're not there to sell them in the opener pitch. And a lot of people feel uncomfortable with this process. And when I got started, I felt uncomfortable with this process too. It's like I'm a random stranger trying to sell them at their door. However, I promise you, I've taken introverts, extroverts, myself, who I thought I'm a business graduate. I would never be able to knock on doors and master this. I will never be able to knock on it and get rid of my uncomfortable feeling. Everybody gets rid of that. I don't care who you are, what you are, whatever you want to call it. You will, the more you do it, the longer you do it, you will start to get comfortable you'll start to get comfortably uncomfortable. So because it's uncomfortable now, you jump into this uncomfortable arena. You start doing it more and more often. You start getting comfortable. You got to be willing to put the time and effort into getting comfortable in the uncomfortable situation. And remember, the only reason why you're going to do that is because you understand that this isn't just about selling alarm systems. Ultimately, it's about growing as a salesperson, growing as a person in general. Being able to not quit making big paychecks and ultimately perhaps growing offices yourself, like with the current job that you have, right, position and career you have, growing, helping your team grow so that you can actually build teams underneath you, and it's a win-win situation. Okay, so understand that. So don't allow yourself to sound as though your pitch scripted. Knock on the door. Be as wild as possible with the way you talk. Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I don't know your name quite yet, but just a quick question for you. Now, do you know many of your neighbors out here? It's crazy, just talking about stuff like that. And I'll get into pitch training, but I'll give you a generalization of what I say. Hey, how's it going, Mrs. Sorry, what's your name? Peter? Oh, hey, Peter. My name is Paul, by the way, and I don't know if you know many of your neighbors out here. No, sorry. Who are you with? What are you doing? Now they're interested. Okay. Interested in what you're doing, interested in what you're saying, interested in hearing more. So be random with how you do it. That's where the majority of people lack. Build confidence to be random in what you say. Don't just start going in. Hi, my name is Paul Shakuri, and I'm here with AlarmGuard ADT. And what we're doing in your neighborhood is we're knocking on doors, looking to possibly buy, blah, blah, blah. Done. Forget it. You're not going to get sales. You're not going to. Okay. Learn how to be random with your opener pitch. Read what type of homeowner they are, mirror them. If they're an older senior citizen, I'm not going to be like, hey, what's happening, girl? Yo, quick question for you, ma'am. Yeah, what are you saying? Oh, it's all good, girl. Don't worry about that. If it's a senior citizen, hey, ma'am, how are you? Watch your tone. Just a really quick question. Sorry to bother you. Really quick question for you, ma'am. Sorry, did I wake you, by the way? No, you're fine. Okay. As opposed to a guy comes out with tattoos and jacked up truck, and he's all in party mode and got this Truies on, True Religion jeans. Yo, what can I do for you, bro? Yeah, man, quick question. Hey, dude, do you know I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to mirror him. Learn how to mirror and shadow your customers, okay? So it's very important you understand that in your opener pitch. Give the customer space. This is the number one thing that you can do instantly today to start getting a better response. When you knock on a door, you're probably standing right beside the door or a meter away. I stand 10 meters away, 50 meters away. I don't care. As far as you can stand, look busy, write stuff down on a notepad. It could be, I am going to get a deal today. I am going to look busy when they open the door, and don't just when they open the door right away look at them. Keep busy. Let them address you first. Why? You don't want to sound like the typical salesperson. You want to be different. When you're different, it creates confusion. And when it creates confusion, they start looking at you as, wait a second, who is this person? Can I help you? Now they want to hear and understand what it is you're doing. So important, so simple. Do it. Okay? Stand far back, look in their yard, and write notes and let them address you first. Don't waste much time with someone who's not willing to listen to you. If they're just, no, I don't want it. No, I'm not interested. Don't care, man. Get off my property. Okay, see you later. Don't say thank you. Okay, see you later. If they're rejecting you and they're not being polite with you, you have to be assertive. Walk forward. Okay, just remember to watch your tone. Here's an example. Hey, how's it going? You the homeowner? By the way, we sent out a neighborhood advisory out. Did you get that? So from time to time, we'll send out neighborhood advisories just so you know. It basically gives them crime stats, and in your office, you may want to print some out. Go research crime stats in those neighborhoods and print them out and show them at the doors and leave them with your phone number on it so you can do these neighborhood advisories. So we had a neighborhood advisory sent out. Did you get that? Did you ever see any of those? It creates some curiosity. It should have looked something like this if you have one in your hand. Wait for the response. It doesn't make a difference whether or not they say yes or no. Okay. Your opener pitch is about creating curiosity. So now you're no longer a stranger. You've actually been talking to them for 20 seconds or 15, 30 seconds. And it's like, this is now this person who possibly you may have said your name. I don't quite even say my name right away. I wait for a little bit longer, but this is the process of getting better. You just get comfortable and you learn how to slide with it. So you now have their attention. This is what makes the customer curious enough to ask you, neighborhood advisor, what's that? What is it you're doing? Oh, it's just a notice regarding recent activity. And by the way, this is a very safe neighborhood. Have you heard of any? Well, actually, yeah, it's pretty safe, but I've heard of so-and-so and yada, yada. Now you're opening up communication. Okay, so I just want to let you know what we're doing. We're actually securing and protecting families out here by creating visibility for our company during the day and now at night as well. And I'm going to explain what that is. And have you heard or seen our company, ADT? Yeah, security systems. You guys selling security? Well, no, we're doing something completely different. I'm part of a different department, but let me explain to you what we're doing. Now, we're increasing the number of sales eventually in this neighborhood. And, in order to do that, we're obviously doing some advertisement in this neighborhood. And I'm being very general to start because I'm wanting to get their attention. So we're setting up focal points for your neighbors. Okay. And what I'm eventually getting at is I want a yard sign, an ADT yard sign in their yard. But I'm creating this curiosity. Also, guys and gals, just so you guys know, that's true. There's been so many people who have false alarm issues with like all these other monitoring stations or police not showing up, the alarm system's not working. So we're correcting false alarms and surrounding in the neighborhoods with older, outdated systems, and people literally wanting to switch to us. So we're just getting aware that we're out here by branding AlarmGuard and ADT directly in your neighborhood. So why is it we're doing that? Now, number one, we're obviously doing this so that homeowners have that extra line of defense that they deserve both day and night. What we're going to do is we're going to place an ADT yard sign in front of your property. And what that's going to be is obviously a deterrent for burglars. If they were to, let's just say, walk up and down, the street, they're going to see an ADT yard sign in front of your house. And what are they going to do? They're going to more than likely leave. But unfortunately, some burglars still want to test it to see if your security system is armed or if you even have one. Okay. So we need our yard sign in front of your yard. Okay. Because there's been a slight increase in crime. But when there's a slight increase in crime, people start calling security companies and looking for security systems. We want them to purchase through us. So in order for us to make money and our company to make money, number one, if you have a system or people who do, we get rid of their false alarms by putting a brand new updated two-way voice system in. But for people who don't, we still have to increase our sales by doing something completely different. You see this yard sign that I have in my hand? If you put it in front of your yard, it's going to be it's a focal point in your neighborhood for homeowners that are walking up and down the streets. If they're looking to get a security system, heaven forbid there's a break-in on the block, and they see ADT everywhere. They have our phone number. They can call us up. They see our brand. Brand awareness is so important to us. They obviously call ADT first. If I'm walking up and down the streets or I hear all the time ADT, it's important that, we get our yard signs out here. So I'm looking for homeowners to help us put this sign in their yard or put stickers. If it's a business, put stickers right in the front. Every time somebody walks into your business, that's obviously advertising for us. And if you're willing to help us with that, we're willing to go ahead and compensate you in return. Why? Because that helps us generate revenue. That helps us increase our sales. The more branding we get out there, the more money we make longer term. We invest a lot of money into our advertising so that we can make more money down the road. Now, when you think about it, if I have a sales team that's out here in the neighborhood and obviously one person doesn't have a security system and the other people do or a few people don't, think about it. My sales team can then point to the neighbors and say, oh, but Brad has it, Steve has it, Jen has it. And just so you know, if a burglar was going to break into a house, do you think he'd break into one that has and is protected by ADT or one that's not? Okay. So, I mean, obviously your whole reasoning to get a security system is to protect your home before something happens and not be like the average Joe who waits to get broken into, then says, oh, wait, I need an alarm system. Are you going to secure your home after you get broken into because now you find the need? Or is it, before, heaven forbid, in case it does happen? Okay. So by helping us out, we actually do in return, compensate and pay you. Okay. So it's important to understand that. It really helps us out a lot. So here's how you get compensated if you were to actually help us out by placing an ADT yard sign. By placing that out, that's going to help us generate revenue, like we said, more people would contact. But because you're doing that, we're going to absorb the cost of a basic security system. Now, we're not going to go ahead and give you $10,000 worth of equipment. It's the reality. But we do go ahead and give you a basic system. What's the square footage of your house? And they typically say, it's about 2,000, 2,500 or 1,500 square feet. Okay, that does cover it, yes. But let me start off by explaining, first of all, how our sensors work. And I start going in directly into the door contact. So I'll get into the house and say, let me show you and explain. And I'm always handing over pamphlets or leaflets to them, of door contacts and images and how they look like. But I hand it over and I go, are you familiar with how this door contact works? Kind of, or no, not really, a lot of people say. No problem. Let me show you on your front door. Do you mind if I just show you on your front door? You want ultimately, folks, to do an in-house demonstration, an in-house presentation. You do not want to battle with them outside of the house. That is not your winning ground. Your winning ground is when you're inside the house. Why? When you're inside the house, you're more than likely to do business. They can't just kick you out of the house as easily as when you're outside, say, not interested, see you later, walk forward. So your goal is to say, let me show you first of all on your front door. And from your front door, you actually start explaining, your front door, we're going to give you this door contact. This is going to be absolutely free, provided you put the sign out. Do you have a back door? Go to the back door. Explain how the sensor would work on their back door. We put a sensor right here on your door frame. We put a sensor on your door. Do you have a garage door? Okay, we put one here and explain it. Take your time explaining. This is so important. And this is where I go into the later, more advanced trainings about building value. Take time on each of the sensors. Don't just speak and not ask them questions. Talk about the door contact. Remember, we said in AlarmGuard 101, if the magnetic sensor were to split, we place one here, it would send a signal to the keypad. The keypad goes, wait a second. Am I armed? Am I not? If not, loud siren. Now, does that make sense? Yes. Okay, can you just repeat to me if somebody broke in from here? Now, are you concerned when you're staying at nighttime, if, your wife's in bed and you work at nighttime, and you figure out, you start digging, you start caring, you start understanding and studying yourself, what it means and different scenarios of an alarm system. And folks, once you get that, your in-house presentation, you start doing it like figuring out and caring about their needs, not the sale. The sale comes when you care about your customers' home being secured, and you start talking about it, and you start saying, okay, so now if somebody were to do this, this is what would happen. And now if somebody were to do that, that would happen. And I always paint the picture of having a security system versus not having one. And I show you that in these upcoming trainings that we're going to do with the 303s and 404s about actually showing that and pitching with you guys on live calls, okay? So the homeowner's responsibility, after you start explaining the motion detector, putting it inside their house and how it all ties in, I'll then go into saying, okay, so here's the thing. We're going to gift you that system, which is, roughly about $800 to $900. And we're going to also take care of the installation cost, provided you're going to be here tomorrow. Now, you do have a responsibility. And let me explain this to you, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner. But if, let's just say, Best Buy had a brand new 3D HD TV that came out, and they wanted you to advertise in front of their yard saying, hey, I have this brand new HD TV that I got from Best Buy. Would you go to Best Buy saying, I'll only take this if you pay my cable bill as well? They would probably laugh at you and say, well, then screw you. I'm going to go give it to your neighbor. Does that make sense? They're going to give you a brand new TV. You're not going to ask them to pay your cable bill. Well, it's the same way. We are the provider right now of the security system as AlarmGuard, and we're going to get it connected directly to the largest central station, which is ADT. And what that is, and I go through, if the alarm gets triggered, we have the police sent out, it sends a signal. All you take care of is that connection to have it monitored, just like you'd pay for your cable. And you're going to laugh out here in this neighborhood, it's X dollars. Know your packages based on what you're selling. Because remember, your cell unit, you're going to put that in, whether it be $43.99, $42.99, you're selling them in on the package. And then people will say, how about the cameras? I seen your guys' commercials. Yeah, absolutely. Cameras that we can put one here. Where would you be your concern? I want one right there, right there. Perfect. We'll get you that camera. We'll get you this. Your startup cost will be $199, and your monitoring, you're only going to pay a X amount dollar difference. So all you're going to pay now is the $199 for that, and you're going to pay this for that. Know your prices. Get with your manager and figure out what your costs are on your products. And when they're asking it, you're showing them. So you mean to tell me I can arm and disarm now my security system for my phone? I can get a special thermostat. I can tap into my cameras. I can do all this and that, all for just $52 a month, let's just say. And, I can do it for this and get with your managers about your monitoring rates. And all I pay is that? Absolutely. That's because you're putting that sign out there. Okay, well, how long does it take? When do you guys install it? Oh, we're doing all our advertising accounts tomorrow at between this time. I have to check with the office to make sure, obviously, that you qualify for it. But do you mind if I sit at your table? And now you're going through, you're sitting at their table. We explain the monitoring. We explain the cell monitoring. You're sitting down, and we're justifying the payment, right? We just went into that pitch. We went into how the rate I pitched the homeowner also depends on their interest levels and more. But just to give you, it's not difficult. Believe me, over time, the more you push yourself to get in more houses, to communicate and talk to more, to get managers, perhaps closers, to come in and help close deals with you, the more it becomes real to you. But if you're willing to give up and quit on day number 1, 2, 3, week number 1 or week number 2, you're not going to learn this. The reason why you're going to want to stick in with this is because you have a bigger goal. It's not just to go out there and pay your bills. It's because you want to ultimately dominate and make a 6-figure income doing this, and do it loving it, knocking on doors, talking to people about their home security, protecting it, because every door should ultimately get it if they own their house, right? I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, and then, building sales teams underneath you so that you can also get compensated for that as well. And we talk about that. For those people who do shine, your office manager obviously wants to grow you and grow other sales forces underneath them. And I'm telling you, it just becomes that much more fun, and we really get you in that process. So in order to close it, I always go with so I have my technicians that are going to be out here on the block tomorrow, and they're going to be finishing up a few of your neighbors' installs. Would you be home available tomorrow between 9 and 11 o'clock? I set up a time. I don't say, well, what time do you want this tomorrow? Yeah, we're going to be okay, because provided you're going to be here tomorrow, I build scarcity. I also put a time frame on there because you're going to be here between 9 and 11. That $399 install charge, I come up with an amount as that if they've got the camera system. That $399 install charge, or if it's just a basic system, that $199 or $99 install charge, just so you know, we're going to absorb it. All you're paying is your activation and your monitoring, because my technicians are going from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. They don't have to go from one city to another and all over the place. We have all our technicians going to be installing tomorrow. So what time would be good for you? They're like, yeah, 9 to 10 would be great. Perfect. Do you mind if I sit at your table? And you go sit at their table right away. Some people like to say, do you mind if I sit at your table? And they do that, and then they bring this up. It's up to you. You can do it either way. Do you mind if I sit at your table really quick? I want to show you something. Yeah, no problem. So tomorrow we have our technicians that are going to be out here, and then they go in from there. Why? Because if you're sitting now at their table, they're inside the house, they're going to more than likely make an educated decision, with that process. And what's very important is the next process is you're whipping out your paperwork. Now, thankfully, ADT is with Protectron, and with the Protectron agreement, it's a simple one-page, agreement. It doesn't take much to fill out this contract. And what's awesome about this is when you're filling it out, you're basically just asking for their name, their phone number. You don't want to be silent on this part, okay? Don't make it look like you got so excited, you wagged your tail, you got to the paperwork, and you're filling out paperwork with them. Make it a fun process. Don't care about the paperwork. Put it down and start talking about the baseball, hockey game, the Blue Jays, the Oilers. Talk about their kids, your kids. Be like, hey, Brad, quick question. Are you into hockey? What's your thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers if you're here in Edmonton, or Calgary Flames if you're in Calgary, or Toronto? Are you, cool. Hey, oh, really? Speaking of which, I was actually at the game, and yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Whatever you talk, small talk. Care about your potential customer. I swear on my life, when you do that, it's a night and day difference. You're not there selling them. You're there as that educated individual who's taking care of their property, who cares about them, and they feel more comfortable. Guys, what's so important, gals, is that I pass this. You gotta get good at being a good salesperson by not slamming them into getting it, making them feel comfortable with this process. Okay. That's where I'm really good at, is making people feel really comfortable about the decision they make. And the people are like, hold up. I don't know if I want to do this just quite yet. Okay. I take steps back. I'm like, oh, no worries, Brad. Let me tuck this away. Let me put that away. Sorry, I made you feel that way. No, that's fine. It's fine. I'm like, what's stopping you? Like, what's holding you back? Please feel free. This is open. Okay. I just don't know if, we see they give you their objection. And again, we go through this in 303, 404 trainings, but they give you objection. You're like, oh, that's a very good point, man. I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. You answer their objection. See, and then now after you have answered their objection, like you have a dog and, you have a gun. That's awesome. But the reality is, here in Canada, as we both know, I mean, to pick up a gun and shoot somebody, it can get you in a lot of trouble, even if they break into a property. And unfortunately, me personally, I've been in the United States, whether I think differently or not. I mean, I think it's unfortunate that, that is not something that you want to do regardless, right? I mean, you obviously want to be very careful with that. Now you have a dog and then you go into the objections. That's awesome. Dog's an excellent form of protection. And just by you bringing that up, that means you're security conscious. If you have a dog, for protection, you're security conscious. So we have that form of protection with your dog, which is great. But do you keep your dog outside in the summertime at all? Yeah, we do. So what happens if somebody pried open your front door when your dog? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, no. But also, just so you know, I've seen scenarios where unfortunately it does happen often. If somebody wants to break into your property, property. You have a dog, they have like a sleeping pill, they put a piece of meat or an apple, throw it inside the backyard, the house where your dog is. Dog eats it, he's put to sleep. They're inside the house. Crazy as it is, could it happen? I mean, it's happened. Are you open to the possibility? And really, for how inexpensive this is, less than a Starbucks coffee a day, I should more likely say at Tim Hortons, and I break it down. Coffee a day, you can have that security system sign. You can have that dog that's protecting your home. You can have your security shield and your gun, which I don't recommend using, of course, but you have literally all levels of protection, okay? Protecting your home. At the end of the day, you're going to get an insurance discount. When you really look at it, it's a buck and change a day. Is the protection of your hardest worked assets really worth that? Remember, we talked about the camera systems that you want to. No. You know what? Sorry, I even mentioned that. 9 times out of 10. No, that's fine. No, we'll go ahead and get it. Yeah, no worries, man. Hey, this is like I said, Brad. It's open discussion, man. You're getting an awesome deal. ADT is the largest security company. I'm not here to force feed this you. It's just that you do get an awesome deal on this advertising promotion that I'm not the one, but they give me the ability to give this promotion to you. So congratulations. It really, I'm telling you, once you get it installed, no, Paul, forget I even said that. Seriously. Yeah, no worries. Let me call my office and just double check that we have that time slot available, because we are, hey, how's it going? And then you go into it, you get all the information, you send the paperwork through, and the process gets installed, and you're good to go. It literally is that simple process in order to sell the customer in on the security system. Now, that's a lot of information, and I do have this recorded, so I'm going to want you to go back in, study it, ask questions in our 303 and 404. That's going to be coming back up in the following week, probably the week or the week after. I'm going to be doing those, and I'm excited to hear your guys' results. You got to get out there and start knocking. So having said that, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. I was able to smash this one out in 35 minutes, which is cool. I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty impressed with that. I love what I do. And anybody have any questions about the 202 training or even 101? Everything we went over today. I'll be getting this uploaded to our YouTube channel, and then also sending you guys the links as well. And anybody have any questions about this? Anybody have any questions? If not, sorry for you, Calgary, you dealers and security sales reps in Calgary. Edmonton Oilers are going to dominate today. I shouldn't say that. That's fight words. But Oilers are playing Calgary today at 8 o'clock, so I'm excited to watch that. I'm an Oiler fan. I'm in Edmonton, just so you guys and gals know. But anybody have any questions? Anybody? No? Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, I'm going to get processing this video, and have a wonderful, safe weekend, everybody. God bless you all. I'm so proud to be a part of literally AlarmGuard, ADT's master dealer. Like, just such a, I'm telling you, and from the bottom of my heart, people who care, all the way from the executive team to the dealer partners to sales reps. And we're working on better collaborating with one another. So you guys will be able to see sales reps from different offices clear across Canada in this upcoming couple months. It's a wonderful time to be a part of this growing beast monster, where people now more than ever are literally, requesting security systems, calling. So get out there on the doors and make sure you stand strong, control your emotions. When people tell you not interested, stick with these trainings, ask questions, and you will see a better result than what you are currently getting. Or if you're newer, welcome aboard, and you're going to slowly start focusing on being that top salesperson, because that's where you ultimately have to be. Everyone, God bless you all. Have a safe weekend. I'll see you guys in upcoming events. Zen, what's happening, my man? So nice you were able to make it to this one. Adil, Rustam, and then Khalil, Mark, Elsa, my girl. How you doing, Elsa? Anthony, Braden, and Natalie. I look forward to shaking your hands and meeting you guys all. We have awesome stuff coming up, which you will be hearing in the next couple months about, trips and competitions and so much more within the company that will be paid for. So stick in with it, and I look forward to serving you guys. Take care, everybody, and God bless. Bye-bye.